Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha
Dodi livani lo haroel. Dodi livani lo haroel. Dodi livani lo haroel. Misotola min hamiba. Mekuteret mor levona. Libatini achoti kala. Ani ledodi.
'Cause 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 '
וצהלה, תוך אמונה העם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. Being kind, oh, loving kindness, living kind. Will you choose the love inside you, been put down by what we've been through? Can you what we do to one another and what we say to each other? It's all compassion. So we'll fill the world. So we'll fill the world. We will fill with kindness, being kind, oh, loving kindness, living kind, kindness, being kind. That clouds our connectivity with every letter. It plays the world's immunity. It's our lack of curiosity. We can do better. Let's fill the world instead.
Shabbat Shalom, friends. We're really happy to see you tonight. We've had such a busy schedule here at this temple over the last couple of weeks, and we have a lot going on over the next couple of weeks. So to be here celebrating a simply Shabbat, just to welcome in the Shabbat in its simplest form, which is truly all you need, is going to be really beautiful. So we're going to start by singing Hine Matov, page 10.
טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד.
How good it is,
How good it is,
how sweet it is,
how sweet it is
to be together on this day. How good it is,
how good it is,
how sweet it is,
how sweet it is
to be together on this day. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד.
We're going to welcome in Shabbat together, but before I do that, I think I know most of you, but my name is Rabbi Lyra Alban. I'm excited to be here with you tonight. We're here with our rabbinic intern, Jake, and our song leader, Hera, we're all going to be leading you tonight. We're going to, like I said, welcome in the Shabbat by the first thing you do is welcoming in the Shabbat light. So in order to do that, I'd like to invite forward Richard and Sylvia Chernock, who I had the pleasure of, re-meeting tonight. They haven't been in our community in a couple of months, and we're excited to welcome you up to light our candles. Our candle blessings are found on page 2 and 3.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you so much, and welcome back.
On page 24, we will sing the words of Shalom Aleichem, this traditional classic tune that imagines the two angels that accompany us throughout the Shabbat.
Shalom Aleichem Malachei Hasharet Malachei Elyon Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Boachem L'Shalom Malachei Hashalom Malachei Elyon Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Baruchuni L'Shalom Malachei Hashalom Malachei Elyon Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Seitchem L'Shalom Malachei Hashalom Malachei Elyon
Kadosh Baruch Hu.
Shamor v'zachor are our iconic commandments for what we do to the Shabbat. We guard it, keep it, and we remember it. And in a few minutes, we'll sing the words of Lecha Dodi, which remember the Midrash that one time, the first time we hear the commandment, it says God said Shamor the Shabbat et Shabbat, and the second time Zachor et Shabbat. And they explained, their way of explaining this potential conflict is by saying Bedibur Echad, in one word, somehow miraculously, divinely, at the same time, we received this single, double instruction. Of course, humans can't speak this way, but we live in a world that often demands two competing things at once, or not even competing things, but two things in different directions with different demands. So as we enter this Shabbat, as we enter all Shabbats, it's customary to start with a Chazarat HaShavua, a review of one's week. And as we enter this Shabbat and reflect on the week that we've had past, I invite us all to consider what in our life right now, where are we feeling called, instructed in two different ways at the same time? And where is that something, a balance, a challenge that we need to rise up and meet in our lives? And where is it a place that we need to quiet a voice in our head and choose a path? We'll take a few moments of silent reflection in our Chazarat HaShavua. Entering Shabbat itself may be one of those ways in which we're pulled in multiple ways. Because we're meant to greet the Sabbath as a bride. We're meant to greet it joyfully, no matter where we've been that week. Whatever this last week has come for us, whatever we've endured, whatever we're working through, whatever we're experiencing. Our tradition tells us that here we can find something joyful and restorative and worthwhile. And so we imagine the Shabbat, greeting the Shabbat as a bride, because what's more joyful, despite everything else, what's more joyful than a wedding? So we sing the words of Lecha Dodi, which are on page 20.
Lecha
Dodi, likrat kala, panei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, panei Shabbat nekabela. La 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 la, Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, panei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, panei Shabbat nekabela.
Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmi'anu el ha'michad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shem ha'tiferet v'hiti la 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 la. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, panei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, panei Shabbat nekabela.
Verse 2. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki hi mekor ha'beracha, merosh mikedem nesucha. Sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila, la 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 la. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, panei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, panei Shabbat nekabela. We rise and face the door as we sing verse 9.
Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala,
Gam besimcha u'v'tzola, toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, la la la
לקראת לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. לך לך דודי לקראת לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. לה 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 לך לך דודי לקראת לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. לך לך דודי לקראת לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה.
We'll stay standing as we turn to page 28, and we're called into prayer with the ancient words from the temple in Jerusalem, Baruch Hu.
Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Please be seated. The words of Shema, which we've now been called into, are at once distinctly ours, iconically a piece of our Jewish tradition for millennia. They're some of our oldest words. But they represent not an exclusive call, rather a calling in, they starkly and unequivocally insist on a universal connection to divinity, and thus a universal connection to each other and to all peoples. And further, they demand, in the words of Ve'ahavta, as the prayer continues, that we instill this very idea central in all of our generations. We turn to page 34.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam va'ed.
Continuing on the next page. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha vehayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom alevavecha veshinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam Veshivtecha beveitecha uvlechtecha vaderech uvshochbecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם. אמת. It's been said that to the degree there's a Jewish political philosophy, it's a political philosophy, a philosophy of Exodus politics rather than messianic politics. What we celebrate is this moment of liberation that we celebrate in the words of Micha Mocha, not when we got to the land, not when we became sovereign in the land, but what we recognize as our founding and our moment of liberation. Is the Exodus merely from bondage in order that we may pursue what comes next? This is an idea about politics, but it's also, I think, an idea about what happens in our spiritual life. Our great liberation is not an answer, it's the beginning of a journey. And we are so grateful for it that we sing out the words of Micha Mocha on page 40. We come now to our Amidah, the heart of our worshipful encounter in every service, 3 times a day. We will rise in a moment to start it together with the words of Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, and then we'll continue privately with words of the Siddur or words of our hearts. If we choose the words of Siddur, we'll start with a blessing on our ancestors. And I was thinking about that with this week's Torah portion. It starts with a census, a recording of the names of the people, which we've always loved that. And here when we start our Amidah with a list of some of those names, but the very first ones, the patriarchs, the matriarchs. But we're not calling just on them, we're calling on everyone in that census and everyone in all of the lines of the generations who've come since then. We start with a blessing that evokes this unbroken tradition all the way back. We call on those words together in our Amidah, which we'll start on page 46.
Adonai Sefatai Tita Ufi Agite Hilatecha Adonai Sefatai Tita Ufi Agite Hilatecha.
When you're finished with your personal prayer, please be seated.
Sheberach Avoteinu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Sheberach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Shalom, everybody. In the fall of 2020, I registered for a virtual workshop for Jewish educators called Leading Change with a Creativity Mindset. Every person who registered for this workshop received a package in the mail. The package contained a ceramic bowl, gold paint, and Gorilla Glue. You see, the workshop involved practicing the Japanese art of kintsugi, or the art of repairing broken pottery by mending the cracks with gold. Ahead of the workshop, we were all told to shatter our bowls with a hammer, because when we gathered back together for the workshop, we would be using our glue and our gold paint to put the bowls back together again. The purpose of kintsugi is to allow beauty to rise up through the cracks, to create something whole in an entirely new way. The goal of the workshop specifically for us was to think intentionally about new opportunities arising for Jewish education during the time of the pandemic. Together, we wondered how this time of intense brokenness, this time of the pandemic, actually opened doors for fresh, creative ideas about how to better translate Judaism to all ages. My golden, cracked bowl still sits on my bookshelf 3 years later. Our Torah portion this week, Ki Tisa, brought me back to this kintsugi workshop. It's a rich Torah portion that highlights human imperfection. It highlights God's imperfections and the power of forgiveness. It also reminds me that there is beauty in brokenness. We begin in Exodus 32. Think about where the people have been, making their escape from Egypt, crossing the Red Sea, receiving Torah on Mount Sinai and all the thunder and the lightning that comes with this scene. Moses is atop Mount Sinai, and the people are starting to feel a little lost. Moses has been atop the mountain for 40 days, and he's still not down yet. They start to worry that he's never coming back, and they, in their fear and in their frustration, they rise up against Aaron. Aaron feels all this overwhelming power of the people, and he, clearly not thinking as his best self, tells the people to build a golden calf. Moses finally descends, and just as the people are dancing and singing around this idol that they've just built, Moses sees them. Moses sees red. We read in Exodus 32, "Thereupon Moses turned down and went down from the mountain bearing 2 tablets. The tablets were God's work, and the writing was God's writing. As soon as Moses came near the camp and saw the calf and the dancing, vayichar off, literally, his nose started burning. He hurled the tablets from his hands and shattered them at the foot of the mountain." The story could have ended there. The tablets are shattered. Moses could have said that the task of being this people's leader is too much. He's done. And so too, God could have said, "I am done with these idol-worshiping hoodlums." But that is not what happens. There is a lot of arguing between Moses and God. God wants to kill all the people. Moses talks God off of God's ledge. Finally, God tells Moses to create a second set of tablets. We keep reading. "So Moses carved 2 tablets of stone like the first, and early in the morning he went up onto Mount Sinai as Adonai had commanded him, taking the 2 stone tablets with him." The story resolves with 2 sets of tablets. One originally inscribed by the fingers of God and now shattered, and a second, inscribed not by God, but by Moses, and this one remains whole. Moses doesn't throw away the original shattered tablets. The Israelites keep traveling with both, and in fact, we read in Talmud Bava Batra that the full tablets and the broken tablets laid side by side in the Holy Ark at the center of the Mishkan, the tabernacle in the desert. Why? Why did Moses keep both? And further, if God wanted Moses to march forward with a whole set of unbroken tablets, why did God tell Moses to create an entirely new set? This is God after all, right? God has the power to make anything broken whole again. I'm not sure that I have an answer. What I do know, however, is that our Torah portion offers an important reminder. There is beauty in brokenness, and it's not always possible or even right to fix what is broken. Dina Weiss, head of the Beit Midrash at Hadar Institute, shares the following in a recent Devar Torah she wrote called "Carrying and Carrying On." God's choice to keep the tablets broken teaches us that sometimes the right path is simply to acknowledge when things are broken, to look at the pain and to suffer with those who are suffering. Sometimes the right approach is to leave things as they are, to listen instead of to speak, to hold rather than to fix. This approach is particularly critical for 3 reasons. First, even when we're able to fix the problem, even when we know exactly what it is that we have to do to help, we first need to acknowledge the brokenness. The shattering itself is traumatic, even if the brokenness is later made whole. Second, when we don't rush in to fix the problem ourselves, we create the space and the opportunity for the person who is suffering to solve their own issues. Not only did God restore the original tablets, he told Moshe to make the replacement tablets himself. Indeed, we read a little later in our portion, Moses does construct the second tablets, and when he comes down with the finished product, with this new interaction that he had with God after all of this had just happened, he comes off the mountain and his face, we read, is literally beaming. The final reason why cultivating a more hands-off approach is essential is that more often than we might like to admit, we aren't even qualified to fix the problems with which we are presented. We need to train ourselves in holding, in being present, in being attentive, so that when the time inevitably comes when holding is all that we can possibly do, we will do it well and appreciate its value. Our world and everyone in it are so broken. Read the news, and this becomes clear. Speak to the people around you about what's happening in their lives, and this becomes clear. I wish we existed in an age without war, hate, disease, and cruelty, but alas, we are not there yet. In the meantime, how can we embrace the lesson of our broken tablets this week? For me, I turn to the broken bowl that I made whole again a few years ago that now sits on my bookshelf. I peer at the cracks and I see the brokenness and that it can be beautiful. Even if I had the power to repair my bowl, would I have wanted to? This interesting piece of art would not exist in my home today. Our brokenness makes us unique. Brokenness makes us interesting. Brokenness prevents us with new opportunities for creativity, with new opportunities to rise to the occasion. Brokenness makes us whole in a new way. Shabbat Shalom. We are going now to begin to conclude our service as we turn to Aleinu. Aleinu is found on page 282, and I will invite everyone to rise. We will be chanting the version that is at the bottom of 282, and then we will be continuing on page 287. Aleinu leshabech la'adon hakol, la'tegedula leotzer breshit, shehu notei shamayim ve'osed haaretz, uvmoshev yikaro b'shamayim mima'al, u'shchinatu zo begov hemeromim, hu Eloheinu einod, v'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu, page 287, v'ne'emar v'chaya Adonai, lemelech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu, Yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. You may all be seated. We'll take time now before the end of our service to turn our hearts and our thoughts to those in our lives who are no longer with us. In just a moment, we're going to say our mourner's Kaddish together, but before we do that, I want to give everyone here an opportunity to say the name of a loved one who you may be remembering tonight, and you're here to say Kaddish for them. If you are here to say Shiva, if you are in the first 7 days of mourning, I'll invite you now to rise so that we can acknowledge you. Yeah. If you are here to observe Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning, you can rise. Yeah. And if you are here observing a yard site, I'll invite you now to rise so that we can acknowledge and welcome you. Yeah. Tonight, our Temple Emmanuel community is especially remembering Ann Geller, Ira Laufer, Mitchell Dawson, Ida Esther Unger, Phyllis Reback, Ronald Singer, Stephen Coonan, Marilyn Carnow, Betty Davidson, Maurice Gersh, Alan Laff, Stanley Donald Zemansky. And I'll invite everyone now to rise if you are able. We rise for those who don't have someone to say Kaddish for them, people who have died recently in war, people who have died of recent violence or disease. And we as a community now recite Mourner's Kaddish, which is found on page 294. Yitgadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah. Be'amal divarach cherute ve'amlich malchute. B'chayachon u'v'yomechon u'v'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael. Bagala v'zman kariv imru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnatseh. V'yithadar v'yithalet v'yithalal shmei kodasha b'rechu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nehemata. Damiram be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama Rabbah min Shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru. Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all of Israel, to the whole world, and we together say, Amen. You may be seated. Before we close our service with our last song, we have some announcements. Tomorrow night, join me. We've had a couple of sound baths already this year, and we are doing our next one tomorrow night at 6 p.m. For those of you who have not attended a sound bath, the best way I can describe it is a meditative experience with sound, which makes sense. It's a sound bath. But you come and actually, Renee Noah Harris is going to lead it. She has all these different crystals and bells and makes different sounds that reverberate in our ears and align with the sound waves in our body. And it's quite the experience. So please allow yourself to be bathed in that sound. We're going to do it and then close with Havdalah together. That is tomorrow night here, 6 p.m. And then on Sunday, you can join myself. You can join Hera will be there. We have our religious school open house at 9 a.m. Spots are still open. This is for prospective parents who want to come learn more about our K through 12 religious school program. You'll be able to join us for tefillah, for opening prayer. You'll be able to see our kids learning Hebrew and doing art, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So that is 9 a.m. also here. Shabbat in the Yard. This is next Saturday with Jake Petzold and Jason Meshes. But Shabbat in the Yard is a Shabbat morning experience for our littlest kids. It's a lot of music, a lot of moving around, dancing. It's just really fun. It's going to be in our chapel, and then it ends in our preschool playground. So Shabbat music and crafts next Saturday. Okay, this is a big event, Yom Chesed, our Day of Kindness, coming up on March 16th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. This is a project of our newly started Temple Emmanuel Mitzvah Corps. The day is going to be put on. Basically, what we're doing is turning the idea of Mishloach Minot, of sending out gifts for Purim, on its head, and instead we are taking the day to create gifts of generosity to those in our community who need it. So we're having all sorts of volunteer projects to help the families of hostages, to make care kits for people who are experiencing homelessness. I think we're going to make no-sew blankets for people who are in the hospital. We're going to make flower bouquets that our religious school kids are then going to take over to the Carmel Assisted Living Facility, and more. So it's a whole day of giving gifts of generosity to the wider community. That's March 16th at 10 a.m. And then Purim. Purim is a big holiday. It's coming up in a few weeks. If anyone here is like me and a Swiftie, you're going to be really excited to celebrate the Temple Emmanuel's Purim Shabbat and Spiel, which is a Taylor Swift Purim Spiel. It's going to be a lot of fun. I've seen our costumes arriving for our littlest kids. It's very cute. We have all these tiny little sequin costumes for our kids who are in the Spiel. It's going to kind of be the Spiel followed by a Purim party. So that is on Friday, March 22nd. Please, please come to celebrate. And then finally, this is just a save the date. We have our big gala fundraiser happening on May 13th, honoring our very own cantor, Lizzie Weiss. She's been here almost 10 years. She's entering her 10th year. And so on Monday, May 13th, we are celebrating her and celebrating the longevity of this special community. We have, I know, a famous guest coming. It's going to be a whole concert, musical, good hors d'oeuvres, good desserts, and just a whole lot of fun ticket information is out or is coming out really soon, and we cannot wait to celebrate with you. And with that, we're going to close our service with a prayer for peace, which all of us could use a little bit more of. Oseh Shalom, page 294. Lom bim romav hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bim romav hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bim romav hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Thank you to Jake, thank you to Hera, thank you to Sarah doing our sound and our microphones, thank you to Sarah doing our welcoming, and for all of you for coming, and I'm wishing you a really good, peaceful Shabbat.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
We're going to do most